Well, think about it. Let's say we're dealing with a particular project, and I'm the CEO, and you're the COO, and Scott is the CFO. Well, the three of us may need to see information that, quite frankly, we don't want the rest of the team to see. So I think there should be something that does a preferred where they see everything, and unless if something is marked preferred, only those that are on the preferred list would get those notifications or be able to access the files. Yeah. See, that's one of the things, Scott, that this platform is built that we can continuously add. So if we have a client, let's say, a state that looked for the faxes, well, now we added that in, and so now that's in the toolbox to go to the next, client.
Sure.
Say we have that, and that's so. The more clients we have, the more we're going to charge for that. Obviously,
of course,
and
yeah.
so they'll pay for the building of the applications, and also, I think we're working on the app, the mobile aspect of it. For both a Pro Video Meeting or PVM and for this.
Okay.
So how about if we take questions now?
Okay. Geez, to take questions at this point, it's a lot to digest. Obviously, Pro Video Meeting is, and please don't take this the wrong way, but it's a much more simplistic tool.
Oh yeah, no, it's meant for
and
simple.
Unity is.
Yeah.
I think Unity. When I got the basic idea of Unity, I was thinking of Slack to a certain extent, but this is way beyond Slack in my opinion. Because you have
when you say beyond, expand on that.
Well, you have the tie-in of video meetings immediately, like what was just pulled up. You have the tie-ins of a document management system that can be that can address many different people and address different levels of priority. It's almost like if you're throwing it back to when you were back in the old days when you would set up a Windows server and you would set up permissions for who gets what.
Yeah, man.
So it's very similar to something along those lines. And then you also have the opportunity as an organization to sell the cloud storage as an additional add-on for anybody that would want it in capacity.
And I think what's our capacity on storage, Craig? I think it's pretty deep, right? Yeah. So we have our own store. What are we using on the servers here?
Right.
And security aspect. Let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah. So this platform to me, to really come up with obviously it's been in the marketplace for a long time. So you've got a decent following already, and it has tremendous opportunity for where it could go. I definitely think that there could be some fantastic co-marketing opportunities with Microsoft because it's on Azure. And it's really kind of
well, wouldn't this compete with Teams though, Scott?
I don't know. I'd have to look at Teams, but
it's complicated. It's complicated. It's complicated, Teams. I opened it up. It's complicated.
A lot of Microsoft products are complicated for a reason, because they're as we used to say back in the old days, it was job security. You worked on a Microsoft platform, you had job security.
That's correct.
But when you're looking at something like this, Microsoft might look at this and say, hey, look, this is a really great simplistic tool. It's not as deep as what we have and blah, blah, blah. But that doesn't mean that it wouldn't be of great value to their customer base, to some portion of their customer base, right? And so there could be an exit strategy for you guys there should you want to go in that direction, but I can't say that you really have an exit in mind. But the fact of the matter is that because it's on Azure, there are plenty of tools out there that compete with other Microsoft products that Microsoft is still going to
Sure.
promote because it's they want to promote their platform, and their platform is important to them. Um, I like what you guys have done with the look of it. You know, you just changed some of the settings, which I thought were really good and clean and nice looking. It's the contrast of the different columns is fantastic. It's easy to understand.
Yeah, by the way, I love what they did on this. This is the first time I'm seeing it myself.
Yeah.
Excellent job they did. Very impressed.
And I think, Peter, as you were saying, it's a type of tool that, you know, I would open up in the morning.
Correct.
And I would have my X number of projects, and I'd be able to list the day before. If it ties into a calendar and ties into email, it would be hard pressed for me to really see what I would need outside of this. Now, the team I'm working with, Scott Herring and Patrick Quinn, a lot of different things have gone on with that organization, a lot of different web development things and so forth. And we're on kind of the Google platform for Gmail and chat and the video and that stuff. It's really all new to me from, you know, late summer this year. So I'm still learning all of it, and it's not exactly the easiest stuff in the world, but we have, you know, we also have, you know, our
now, why did they? What was the thing? What was Scott's background? Scott West Coast.
Oh,
and yours, by the way. So, just so Craig has a
sure. Craig, my background. I was with a software company out of grad school. I did sales and marketing. It was a database manufacturer in Miami, Florida, called DataFlex. Back in the early days, they were bigger than DBase at one time, and then they weren't. And then, excuse me, I started an aviation parts company with my father and my brother, and we did that for 24 years. We closed that business 4 years ago and basically retired. All along the lines, I've been involved in technology. I launched a couple of iOS applications at one point in time. I didn't do development work myself, but I just kind of drove the team as to what we're going to do. Had limited success with it, but it was a fun endeavor, to say the least. I was the chief information officer, chief operating officer for a voice over IP company here in Virginia for a short period of time that I invested in. And that's what actually brought me from Miami to Virginia, and then went back to my aviation business, invested in numerous early stage companies, and partners in a number of companies, advisor in a number of companies, that type of thing. Scott Herring and I worked together back in the early 90s. He moved out to the West Coast, did a software development company for the music industry for music tracking, and sold that company, had a very nice successful exit with that. Has worked in a number of different capacities as just a kind of a marketing guru, does web development. He's currently with two different companies that I'm partial owner of. One is called WebApper, and the other one is called Zymerai. You know, it's all tech-based, a lot of marketing background on his behalf, a lot of UI stuff.
What's the other name? How do you spell the other company? WebApper and then what? The
other company is Zymerai. It's Zaimerai.
Okay.
And that's actually a hosting service for Dashcoin masternode holders. So that's a cryptocurrency play.
He's marketing a what's it called? Dashcoin one?
It's a Dashcoin masternode hosting business.
Have you shown him all 5 yet?
He looked at the Decavolt 5 before we had our call.
He did look at the Decavolt 5 before you did the call with Rick, or
yeah, before we did the call with Rick, and he's very intrigued by that, and it's one of those things that we're going to keep on our radar.
Okay, got
it. So we have kind of varying backgrounds with where our strong interests have been, but we've been tech based. He and I have been good friends the entire time, from the early time we worked together in the 90s. He's really a smart gentleman, and that's why I wanted him to see this platform and talk with you guys more, and find out, from talking with Peter, it was unclear if you guys would be looking for outside assistance with marketing assistance, or web development, not web development, I shouldn't say that, but web presence necessities and things of that nature. And that's where a lot of Scott's strengths really come from, or reside, I should say.
So from a marketing standpoint, so Scott takes a look at a company like this and says, okay, and he comes up with a plan of market penetration. So here's what I'm looking at. I believe this platform and PVM, by the way, I think it may be a combo deal of a platform, because I think we can offer people Slack, Zoom, and DocuSign all on one within our and for a quarter of the price that everyone pays to do that, right?
Or for 75% of what it is, and then you can mark your price down if you don't sell at a quarter.
Right.
I always like to get my philosophy on pricing is start your pricing high. It's much easier to come down than it is to raise.
I'm in sales my whole life. It's always that's
exactly. You and I come from that.
Rule number one is keep it simple, stupid.
Yes, of course it is.
But I believe the markets for our products, including PVM, is the home-based offices. And let me give an example. One of our contacts is Constant Contact. Constant Contact has 6 million, maybe 8 million now, home-based businesses, okay, that they sell their software to. And you know what they did? They're the first one that aggregated emails and so forth, right? They saw our pro video meeting and were like, well, wait a minute, this is viable to our client base. I believe I don't want to go after the companies that have 1,000, 2,000 people. You know what? Slack, you take them. Microsoft, you take them. Zoom, you take them. I don't want to deal with that, right? Give me those home-based offices now, which are now in the tens and tens of millions and growing more rapidly than we could ever have imagined. Obviously, COVID. Now, I've had a home office since the 90s.
Right.
Since 1998, when my wife, my 29-year-old wife, was diagnosed with cancer.
Right.
Brain tumors. And so I left Wall Street, and we had enough technology for me to be able to tie into my computer, and it wasn't what the world is now in 98, And so I've kind of developed a methodology to be able to have an office at home. And one of the things I tell people, I probably should have written a book or started a blog on this, I would have had a following, is you have to make sure that when you work out of your home, you go to work. You get up and you literally go to your office, So me, I get up, I'm in the gym at 6:30 in the morning. I come home, I go into prayer, I take a shower, I get dressed, and I go to work, and so now that is being here in New York, realizing, let me tell you something, the amount of office space available in the city now is staggering.
Yeah.
Because everyone has just figured this out. Wait a minute, I don't need to be in my office 5 days a week. I simply don't need to be there, because we have the community. We live in a virtual world. And look at our business right now. Look what we're doing.
Yep.
We just had Scott in California, you in Virginia, what's the name in Arizona, Greg, and I'm in New York. And really, did it matter?
No, it didn't at all.
Did it matter if we were all sat down and it would have been lovely to go have dinner? But it doesn't matter anymore, and it hasn't for quite a long time to be. And I'm going to tell you, I don't know the name. I think it was Bank of America figured out that their travel. And this was before COVID, and they came up with using Cisco, and they spent a lot of money on the Cisco systems, but they saved something like $1 billion in travel over a period of a couple of years. Some stupid number, not a billion, but it was like 100 million or something stupid in travel, because they started utilizing the video conferencing and the other tools that were available to them.
Yep.
That those systems, you don't need to buy $50,000-$100,000 systems anymore because they're all software based now, right?
Well,
and so
Peter, I can tell you, I don't mean to interrupt, but I can tell you that when you're looking at a tool like this, there are many markets that this can go into. And I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about.
Give me an example. What do you think?
The financial advisor I use, small group.
Yep.
In DC. The one of the partners in the group is a gentleman named Michael Farr. He's on CNBC every week. On one of the talking head shows for financial management. He's written a couple of books and everything. Super guy.
Yeah.
And I don't, Michael and I have been friends for a number of years. He doesn't do the direct advising. He runs the show, of the group. Yeah. But I deal with their advisors, and rather than have a phone call with them, having a meeting like we're having, and being able to pull up my account and then say, this one right here is lagging, or this, that, the other thing. It gives you more of a personal touch that a lot of people don't really understand just yet. And it's much better than if you're going with someone like Merrill Lynch that you'll never see the advisor.
Yeah.
So, and there's tons of financial management people like that. And just like in that capacity, there's tons of people in all other types of vertical markets, small offices that can use tools like this.
That's what I was thinking. When I say home base, I don't actually mean just home. I meant
you're
those
talking
companies, 1, 5, 10 people, example, Zoom, for example, right? Am I going to go compete with Zoom when they have 100 people on the phone call and they're doing the web? You know what? Let Zoom take that. Let Slack and Teams take that. All right. I want the offices like yourself, like Rob was, like West Coast Scott.
Yep.
Like this company, the small financial advisor. Those are ones that I think would be our sweet spot in all of our products. Using the InstaSign, for example.
Yep.
Which I think is a phenomenal name, InstaSign on TVN.
I like that too. Yeah.
Yeah. Some guy came up with that name. I think it was Craigie, right? What I think on something like that, we spoke about this before. That's not for complicated contracts, but that may be for your financial advisor. Say, listen, I need you to sign this letter stating that that you're willing to take the risk on this stock.
Right.
Now obviously everything for financial has to go through compliance, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The attorney
but there's also a level of convenience for people, to the extent of, for instance, I used to be with Merrill Lynch, and every time I had to do something with Merrill Lynch, I had to fax a document. And it wasn't always a convenient thing. Sometimes I'd have a fax available, particularly here in my home.
Yep.
Sometimes I wouldn't.
Yes, I know.
So if they had a platform that said, okay, here's the document.
Just sign it.
I need you to sign this document or paste your signature into it. And then hit this button and it'll go to my fax. What they've done is they've taken the complexity out of my hands. They've taken over that complexity.
Yep.
And they're meeting their regulatory needs. And that's what you want to do as a business. You want to make it easy for your customers, your partners, your teammates. I mean, that's Genesis in business.
Exactly. So you see, that's fantastic. what I'd like to do, you have a meeting in 2 minutes.
I do, yes.
Scott, so I'm going to, I don't want to overrun that. What I'd like to do is speak to Rob, because I need Rob to see Unity. So now, when you have a chance to speak with him, maybe you can tell him a little bit about it, so he understands. I think it's viable to take a look at it. I need him to look at this from the IP and from what he would think going further. Just so you know, we're not doing a capital raise. We're, I think, 6 or 8 in cash. We're not a big burn company. Salaries, no one makes more than, I think, 120 a year.
Okay.
That's the way we keep it. And so we're not looking for capital or anything. We will. I talked to Rob about that, that I'll make room for my guys. But what we are looking for is, I'm looking for intellectual property in the human intellectual property.
Yeah, I think as much IP as you could put behind this, you put behind it, and you might not be able to put too much. I mean, particularly with the instant sign or InstaSign. Yeah, I believe that you'll have a chance for IP there if it's not already been done. And
no, we're in there with the patent pending.
Man, that's fantastic. To me, that's just brilliant. This platform also might be very good for my Riverbend Capital Group. And we had a Slack channel that we used for a long time, and it just died on the vine.
Because it's complicated.
But this, to me, is something that's like, everybody in our team could automatically be loaded in here and can easily go to any meeting, or we could have quick side meetings that aren't complicated. It really is a very robust tool that looks fantastic.
Please remember, this is our first iteration, right?
Yeah.
This is just starting out. And we are looking for everything we're looking for people. And I'll tell the same thing to Rob. We're looking for management. We're looking for marketing. We're looking for really from A to Z.
Yep.
There's only 8 of us that are investors in the company. Our lead investor is, I run the family office for Berg.
Right.
Paul Berg. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but Paul is a legend. He's the largest developer in Silicon Valley. It's 7:01. You've got to go, Scott.
Yeah, I do apologize for having to jump off so quick, guys.
Yeah,
I look forward to speaking with both of you again, Peter. Of course, Craig, it was a great pleasure. Thank you so much for taking the time today, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.
No problem, Scott and Craig. Stay where you are, but Scott, a pleasure.
Take care, boys.
Craig, let's go onto my platform.